if you have grown up around Vedic astrology or even just general Hindu tradition, I am sure you must be aware of Shani Dev, who is also known as Saturn in English. And I mostly see people very fearful of him, fearful of Saturn in their horoscope or Shani in their horoscope. So it is like we have been conditioned to fear him. We hear about Shani Dev, the 2.5 years of Shani transiting through the 4th house or the 8th house from your natal moon, or Sadhe Sati, the 7.5 years of Shani transiting over your natal moon. It begins from one sign before your natal moon, then Shani comes on to your natal moon, then the next sign to your natal moon, and these three signs, when Shani transits through these three signs, it is called Sadhe Sati. And people always talk about these periods, whether it is Shani Dhaya or Sadhe Sati, with fear, because they always think that they are going to experience challenges during those periods. So we treat Shani like a cosmic bully who is just waiting for us to make a mistake so he can punish us. But today, I want to invite you to completely shift that narrative. We are going to move away from fear and move towards evolution, because the truth is Shani Dev is not a villain. He is the ultimate guru, the quiet, strict teacher who loves you enough to demand your absolute best. So let us peel back the layers of myth and cosmic energy to understand the profound spiritual purpose of Saturn. Friends, to truly understand a planet's energy in your birth horoscope, you have to look at how the deity connected with that planet. In Saturn's case or Shani's case, it's Shani Deva. So the deity connected with that planet, how that deity got originated, the story of that. Those stories are there in the Hindu Puranas. So you need to be aware of those stories to really understand the underlying energy working behind a particular planet in your horoscope. The Puranas tell us a beautiful, heartbreaking story about Shani's birth. Shani is the son of Surya Deva, the sun god, and Chaya, whose name literally means shadow. Now, Chaya was not Surya's original wife. She was a clone, a shadow image created by Surya's wife, Sanjana, who could not bear the intense, blinding heat and light of the sun. Because Chaya was doing intense penance, tapas, under the scorching sun while Shani was in her womb, the unborn child absorbed that absolute discipline. But he also absorbed the darkness of the shadow, because the mother's name was Chaya. When Shani was born, his skin was dark, charred by the intensity of his mother's penance and the heat of the sun. When Surya Dev first looked at his newborn son, he was shocked. He saw this dark, slow-moving child and refused to accept him, even doubting if Shani was truly his son. Think about the psychological weight of that for a moment. Shani represents the ultimate rejection, the feeling of being cast out, of being in the dark. But here is where the magic happens. Shani did not react with standard anger or entitlement. He turned inward. He performed massive penance to Lord Shiva. He earned his position in the Navagrahas among the 9 planets in Vedic astrology through sheer endurance, discipline, and devotion. Shiva appointed him as Karma Adhikari, the Lord of the justice and karma. So when Shani brings delays, isolation, and coldness into your life, it is not being cruel. Sorry, I should not use the word it because I normally prefer to use personal pronouns like he. So I would say he is not being cruel. He is operating from his lived reality. True strength is forced in the shadows, not in the spotlight. So, for your benefit, I am repeating what I said just now so that you really absorb it. So, when Shani brings delays, isolation, or coldness into your life, he is not being cruel. He is operating from his own lived reality. And what is that? That true strength is forged in the shadows, not in the spotlight. Friends, in astrology, Shani is called Manda, the slow one. It takes him roughly 2.5 years to cross a single zodiac sign. And then there is his famous drishti, the gaze, the Vedic aspect. Mythologically, it is said that whoever Shani looks at experiences sudden separation, reality checks, and intense challenges. But let us look at this through the lens of Hinduism and evolution. Why is Shani slow? Why is his gaze or drishti so heavy? Because Shani represents time. He is Mahakal in planetary forms. That is why praying to Shiva can bring down the sufferings of Shani. So if you are having some tough time related to Shani, you can simply recite or chant the Om Namaha Shivaya mantra, and you can chant it for a good amount of time every day, not just once or twice, maybe 15 minutes or half an hour every day at least. And there is one more remedy. You can always pray to Hanuman also. That is another remedy, is a separate thing. The main topic of this episode is not remedy, but just I mentioned as a passing reference that Shani represents time. So he is Mahakala in the planetary form. So he is a representative of Shiva also. When you are running fast through life, chasing desires, moving from one distraction to the other, you don't learn. You accumulate debt. You accumulate debt. I mean to say, when you are running fast through life, chasing desires, moving from one distraction to the next, you don't learn. You accumulate debt. Shani comes along and hits the cosmic pause button. He slows down your career. He slows down a relationship. Or he makes you wait years for something you desperately want. Why? Because maturity cannot be rushed. Imagine a piece of gold. You cannot purify gold by throwing it into a microwave for 30 seconds. It has to sit in a crucible under intense heat for a prolonged period of time. That heat burns away the dross, leaving only pure gold. This is exactly what Shani's slow gaze does to your soul. He holds you in a situation just long enough for your ego your arrogance and your superficial attachment to burn away. He forces you to settle your prarabdha karma, your past emotional and spiritual debts. So, if you are experiencing a tough Saturn Mahadasha or Antardasha or Saturn transit, stop asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is Shani trying to make me mature enough to handle? So, friends, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with a practical thought. The best way to remedy a tough Saturn placement or transit or dasha or antardasha is not just running to a temple to pour oil. Though rituals have their beautiful place and rituals also work. So I'm not against ritualistic remedies. I am saying the ultimate upaya, the best remedy for Shani is alignment with his values. Honestly, for example, what are the Shani's values? Honesty, humility, hard work, showing up for the unglamorous duties of life without complaining, serving those who are less fortunate, because Shani rules the working class, the forgotten, and the elderly. And one more remedy that I have seen, people who follow a strict timetable in their life every day, like fixed time for getting up in the morning, fixed time to go and take shower, fixed time for finishing your breakfast. Like you should live by a clockwork routine. That is also a very good remedy for Shani. So when you bring more structure, more routine, more hard work, more humility, more honesty into your life, and when you embrace the seva part, you start going and serving the poor people, the old people, people who are suffering in their life, animals, of course, animals also. When you go and serve animals, do things for their welfare, and you do those things without, with no expectations, just as seva, as your dharma. So when you embrace discipline on your own, as if that should be how you should be living, Shani does not need to force it upon you. So the next time you look at Saturn in your horoscope, don't look at him with fear, look at him with reverence. Thank you for being the anchor that keeps your, and say to him, I mean to say that thank you, Shani, the God, Shani Dev, for being my anchor and for keeping my soul grounded in reality. So, thank you, friends, for listening to my episode today. If you want to get a reading on your Vedic horoscope, you can always write to me on my email, which is cosmicbond7 at gmail.com. COSMIC, cosmic, BOND, bond, 7 is the numeral, at gmail.com. So, God bless you all, friends. I hope you are all doing well. Keep saying your prayers and please respect your parents. God bless.